So I went to my VA general exam claim appointment, and they had a few questions on some stuff in the way the paperwork is worded. You know, some things are some things get confusing, especially with all the medical terminology and whatnot. So I had to look up those items specifically um, by their medical term, and was able to just pull it, go to the VetCV, pull up this doc, or this supporting doc where I knew it was, and then just threw in a search and went through 4,000 or 5,000 pages like that, and you know was able to answer the doc's questions, um, specifically, like, or a little more specifically, was able to go right to the dates where it started, and it went just like any other time you hope to be searching a document, but here I am with it on a mobile device. I didn't have their Wi-Fi or nothing, so just cell signal when I needed it, boom. I hoped I'd have everything together before going into the appointment like everyone does, but yeah, life doesn't always work that way. Yeah, the way the vault pulled it up, it was perfect. I don't know what it did for, different from my phone or whatnot, but it pulled it up to where it was accessible right away. I didn't have to, wait it to load all these thousands of pages. Like, went right to what I needed to, search for my appointment at that moment and whatnot. It was very helpful, relieved a lot of stress, in a situation like I actually needed it for. Oh, how easy was it to get things into the vault? Oh, that was super simple. That was just a matter of highlighting everything and dragging it right over, and just waiting. And me being me, of course, I had to take everything and drag it all. And I think don't quote me on the size, but it was a couple gigs worth of stuff, and I think it took less than 5-10 minutes to do. So I just retired and had my ceremony a couple weeks ago. Started terminal leave about that same time. So now, yeah, about 2 weeks, probably 3 weeks this Wednesday, been done. And wasn't a fan of it right away. It definitely didn't hit the first few days. Leave, it didn't hit at all. I think I started the first morning. I was surprised. No one called looking for me. I didn't have to put anything in a muster chat or be anywhere. And then I was surprised a couple hours after that, no one was calling. I didn't recognize it that morning, but the next morning, when I still had that same feeling, I almost wanted someone to call. It was odd. And I'm like, I was only 2 days in. 3 days in, I had the ceremony, and that's when I think stuff hit. I had a very unconventional ceremony, but I'm always been that kind of guy, so it worked out very well. A lot of people put a lot of work and effort into it, and it meant the world. I've always been known to be the monotone and or emotionless, expressionless sort of guy. And oh yeah, I bawled at just about everything everyone had to say. I think I was getting teary-eyed from the beginning. And it was great though. So many, you want me to talk about the ceremony? So many great things. We did it at a brewery. I did more than one guest speaker. I've never been a big fan of the one guest speaker. I don't think anyone should get that sort of central attention. That's why I almost didn't do a ceremony. The Admiral, the wife, directed that. She said I was going to be doing one. Said something about I need closure, and so do my kids. She wouldn't need it though. But we had pushed forward with it, and yeah, so I said, all right, well, that's why I want a few guest speakers. Let's hear a few different stories. But I was very strict on, shouldn't say strict. I told everyone putting everything together, don't make any iteration longer than 5 minutes. With the exception of Old Glory. I chose Johnny Cash's Ragged Old Flag for Old Glory, and it still has a lot of meaning. I think it covers a few other parts of history that a lot of our sailors nowadays, or service members nowadays, don't even know much about. So I wanted to make sure that things got hit a little bit more home. Ragged Old Flag represents, to me at least, that the way a lot of people have, thought about America, down to even a small town stop. And it's personal, and people keep those things close to them, and that's how I've always felt about it, and that's why I wanted to go that route with it. And I always imagine when you listen to Johnny Cash sing it, it's more of a story song than anything, that he's that guy who wasn't thinking about those things when he rolled into a town and talked to an old man about that flag and heard the stories. And that hits home with me, because I always think about those things, but I don't know if nowadays a lot of people do. So I wanted to make sure that I use that for Old Glory. However, it's much longer than the traditional Old Glory, so I knew there was going to have to be a little bit more effort put into it. But for me, that was the thing that really sends you home. Like, that's when everything hit. Now I knew I was done. There was no more going to sea. There's no, and I love my deployments. I love my family, but I also, I don't know, it's part of me. And hell, I think they had to force me into the piping, shortly after that. But no, looking back on it, I think it was amazing how much so many people cared about me just to, do something like that. So, and the feedback from it was great too. A lot of people liked that it was unconventional. There were certain parts of it that still kept the tradition, but they all may have thought I was this sort of person at work, and learned a lot about me as well. And there was almost, I guess there was a humor about it floating around the whole time, and not one person said one bad thing. Everyone loved, how different it was, and gave them ideas for their own future, I guess. So 22 years, we're bound to have some shenanigans. So of course everyone had something funny or out of line to say whatsoever. And like I said, I haven't always been the most conventional, and a lot of times it's just for humor purposes, just to kind of break up everyone's monotony, and just crack a smile out of them. And I don't know, sometimes that's a refresher. So yeah, has been some things come out of my mouth that's probably been a little inappropriate. No one likes to toot their own horn, but yeah, I've been called salt a time or two. What has scared me the last few months in this transition? Honestly, what hasn't? My wife and I just talked about a couple of these things last week, and it's the first time I've seen a look on her face that would remind me of how I probably give it to her, but she doesn't remember us discussing legal paperwork, getting our will and those sort of affairs in order, or life insurance. Blew my mind that 22 years we're paying for SGLI, and you don't get anything when you're done. It's okay, well, even policies you have on yourself or your kids, you can cash them out at some point. There was something. No, we have nothing. We're just supposed to move over into VGLI or something else. SGLI is a service group, service members group life insurance, and that's what we receive as a benefit while we're active duty. And the VGLI is the veterans group life insurance, and that once we enter veteran status, we can have those. And VGLI we have to pay for. And from what I'm seeing so far, the payments are close to what we could be getting with other life insurances, but we're not getting the same level of coverage. Insurance has never been my thing. Heck, we got married and I said, I'll do everything, but honey, you handle insurances and we'll be fine. And for 22 years, she lucked out because we've had TRICARE. Mm-hmm. So she didn't have to do much, but I said insurance, so I should be having her do the life insurance part too. But no, and the job finding, not even the job finding, the resume and the digging into yourself has been the worst for me personally. I've always put everyone else before me, and I know everyone says that, but heck, I went to my ceremony, they all said it too, but I really have. And I think in the last 2 years before retiring, that's something that really hit home is, what have you done for yourself? And when you've been selfless for so long, and I hate saying that because I don't think someone should ever have to mention they're selfless, but that's the truth of the matter. When you've been selfless for so long, you don't know how to do anything for yourself, or something that's going to promote yourself, probably a better way to say it. And that part I felt the most alone with. There's lots of people who say they can help you, but when it comes down to it, heck, I'm still struggling to put together a few certain types of resumes because they want you to brand yourself and talk yourself up. And some people, it just doesn't come naturally. I'm known to be the guy that if you need something, I'll get it done and put it together for you. I don't have to know how to do it. If there's training involved, I'll teach it to myself so I can. And there's a few people that pick up on that about me, but I don't know how to put that on paper on what I've done with it. I know what I've done, but how are you supposed to sell that, you're the, quote unquote cleaner, oh, you can't get this done? Okay, what do you need? What do you need it by? Okay, well, that's impossible. It can't be done tomorrow. You need it done in a week? All right, let me call you tomorrow and see what I can do. But then put that on paper later, and I'm honest to a fault. So when you're branding yourself, it's not difficult, it's impossible to be so honest and then up-talk yourself. It's the only thing I can think in the world that I physically freeze up with doing. So, but it's actually my goal today is to go home and work on that a little bit more. Someone even told me to throw some stuff into Chat GPT and see what they come up with. Going to the same gas station or whatnot, in the morning, wearing your uniform, or just run into the store to grab some milk or whatever on the way home, and you're in your uniform, and all the thank you for your services or whatnot. You don't think you're gonna miss that stuff, but you're kind of, heck, at one point you're like, man, I'm just trying to get home. And but then come Monday or whatever, you got a t-shirt on, and those same people that you see every morning didn't recognize you, so that's weird. Yeah, it is. And I didn't think about it, but yeah, everything everything we wear every day, you're right. Um, everything on our chest, our collar, you know, it is what we've done, and everyone can see that. And you know, called them kids for years because they, you know, that's how you always look at them. Like you want to treat them as your kids, but you know, I'm reminded that my sailors would point that out. You know, you get all fancied up and wearing the nice stuff out, and are all surprised at everything on your chest and everything you've done. Civilians had to go through a similar transition and just be dropped from the civilian world into the military world after them doing their 20 years in civilian. Yeah, if roles were reversed, yeah, I think they'd be equally as lost and caught up. That's something I've totally seen coming out as well. There's a whole new vocabulary with everything. You're looking at work, and we all have ratings and MOSs, you know, our job codes, and now I got to look at titles, positions, and it's all worded differently, and that's been a struggle in itself too. But retiring, transitioning from the military is, man, I can't stand that word. Don't use retirement because that's an end of something, but use transition because it's a good example of it. We can't use retirement because it's an end of something, and we've all been taught in TAP class or etc. Use transition. Use the word that you're transitioning from the military life into civilian life, and we are, but like I just said, things hit you. It is the end of something. We don't ever get to do that again. So for us, we did retire from that. Yes, we are starting something new in our life. And we're always taught to adapt for 20 something years, adapt and change. And we got to do it like that. You see a lot of social things get discussed, and, you know, politics, legislators all pushing for this change and whatnot. We get that stuff much sooner, and we literally have to change overnight. And then this is our life, and then we have to enter the next one with, now you have to change all over for everyone else. And my dad said it good recently. You're not just, it's not like civilian retirement. You're not getting a watch and a cake and walking out the door. And then all of a sudden someone's not contributing to your 401k and insurance or whatnot. He goes, no, like your whole life is changing. Like, and it really is. The amount of the, you know, people should, maybe civilian side should check out what we actually have to do to make this change in our life. I've been prepping for this for 2 years, and I'm still not done. Even on terminal leave, I'm still not done. And it's nuts. It's so crazy. So what 3 consistent things would I should just suggest to anyone getting out, no matter what their time in service, retire, separation, whatnot? Check your resources. We have some pretty good resources in the military, but they are nothing compared to what vets and other organizations, associations, foundations in your area are doing, you know, for each other. If I've realized anything, that's been much better than anything that we've had. Don't just do your TAP class and call it good, because that was a good base foundation, but that's all I'd call it, as a base foundation. I didn't really start to find things out until I started going to resource fairs, hiring events, whether you're getting a job or not, or you know you're gonna go back and work for your folks, or you know this person's got you a job, yada yada. Go to them anyways, because it's not just hiring managers there and whatnot. there's other people who want to help you out. I didn't know so many resources were available. Check your records. It's something you're told all the time. Be on top of your stuff. Whether it's your medical, your dental, your service record, all of them, they all matter. Can't give you your DD-214 without your service records being done. Your VA claim, and yes, you deserve it. I spent all this time thinking I didn't. Yes, you do. There are so many things I can't do on the daily, so yes, that means I deserve it. So with building your resources, build your network, and no matter what your social bubble is, you already have your military family. You have your command. So do it while you still have that background. So before you're getting out, get out to these networking events, meet other people, find a mentor. I know we all hear that and get annoyed with it in the military, but meet these people that actually genuinely care about you on the outside, and take the mentorship you can get from them. It's going to make things easier for you. And if not, you at least got somebody to go drink a beer with on occasion. Those have been astronomically beneficial to me. I relied on those as a crutch more than anything else. I'll be honest with you, I haven't started using some of the other resources as much as I use my network. Yeah, totally on point with that one. That one's good. With that, yeah, you also got to get involved. For me personally, I don't know what I'm going to be doing for a job yet per se, and that's okay. It's taken me a while to come to terms with that. I got a little time to where, yeah, I better figure it out sooner than later. But people in my network have made me feel more comfortable with it, and whatnot, and giving me direction at the same time. So I say it's okay. I'm convincing myself, as others have told me, that it's okay. That's where I'm currently at. In my two weeks after, I'm in the convincing myself it's okay. I'm actually going quite neurotic about it. I'm sitting at home. I don't know what to do with my day. Yes, I have plenty of projects, or some people will call them honeydews. There's plenty of that stuff to do. That's not what I'm talking about. It's a whole another bugging thing when you got people that are asking you your whole career what to do with their life and their career. I mean, on the daily, and then all of a sudden you're sitting there at home and without that, and then you have to ask yourself that question, and you're like, oh crap, well, what am I doing? Where do I go next? I texted my wife last week about, what do I make these kids for lunch? I'm like, I know dinners, because I finally started being home for those the last 2 years, so I've figured that part out. But I'm supposed to feed them another time during the day too, during summer break. So and there's a question you think you wouldn't have to ask yourself, but sitting here bugging like, it's 1 o'clock and nobody's eaten anything yet, and it's not like they're toddlers. You think they'd figure it out, but I mean, come on now. Luckily my better half doesn't belittle such questions or whatnot. Get out there and meet those civilian counterparts, network, build your tribe. I like the comprehensiveness of VetCV. I like that you have, like some other websites. You got the focus. You've got your own profile. And I think I've said the document vault is super helpful. But you can add just about everything about yourself or everything that's gonna help you and yourself, and have the other items available. You put in all your personal stuff and still have resources and, you know, avenues and channels to go from there. Oh, and heck, even the job, you know, you get all that together, and then you still get, you know, not employed yet. Well, okay, well, let's get to the job hunting aspect. That's there too. So, still trying to find what isn't on VetCV. The one thing with VetCV that I thought the resumes you uploaded like any other documents. I didn't realize that it built it for you. You put in the info in the tabs, and it builds it for you. But yeah, the resources there, and it's all pretty quick. Each, you know, you can do everything super simple. You just get your login and then do a section at a time. I think each section just takes a few minutes. So, but whether you probably don't want to say that, you're sitting in the head, that's a couple minutes there, boom, another section done. And the next thing you know, a few months down the road when you really need it, you've got everything there at your disposal because you took care of it 5 or 10 minutes at a time. And that's another thing. When you have a moment, do it. We all get stuck with, got to do this, and this. If you have to make that call or text it, do it. So same thing with, you know, VetCV. I'm really not kidding. Take those 5 minutes that you have while you're standing there and input your info. We've all got autofill anyways. It's that quick. You're only hurting yourself by wasting your time and not. So